We're back with Will Ferrell and Harper Steele. This is a true thing. You were the kind of person who always loved driving across this country, and you talk in the film about how you love this country, and you worry that it doesn't love you anymore.
Yeah.
And you are very off the beaten path, and you are at, like, roadside honky-tonks, and you know, where it was like a demolition derby, or what was that?
Yeah, we went to a dirt track dirt track racing.
And there is some very unkind things that people, when they see you publicly, you sort of go and look at social media.
Yeah.
It does seem like everyone you interact with in the film is a positive interaction. What we see on camera, it is a lot of, sometimes people do subvert your expectations of who they are. And I thought it was really beautiful that the people who actually sat and talked with you and heard why you were taking this were pretty understanding.
Yeah, I felt that. I think the resting place for people is generally kindness. And I think we found that across the country. I will say that when you walk into a bar or a basketball game with Will Ferrell, people tend to want to be kind. We have an uncomfortable moment with the governor of Indiana, who is not very kind to trans people, but he needed to take a picture with Will so bad that he dropped all of his principles. And that, to me, is what Will does for me. But on the other hand, if I was going out there alone, I'd be a little more afraid. But in general, no, I do believe people want to be kind, and it's just the news and the press and the politicians that are polarizing us. So, yeah, that's how I feel.
At the end of the film, Will, you basically say that even after 2 weeks, you're sure that there are going to be other questions you have that didn't come up. Since the time the trip ended, do you feel like there are more things you want to ask each other?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that keeps rolling in my head is why is she such a bad driver?
Yeah.
After all those road trips.
Yeah.
I mean, she does this thing. She drives with one leg, with her knee, and then talks.
I mean, there's literally a shot where you're in the wrong lane on the highway.
Yeah. A lot of time in England.
Oh, really? You were driving in England?
Yeah.
We have, Will, you've been kind enough to do Second Chance Theater, and, you know, Harper, you wrote some of my favorite things at SNL, but you probably had some wonderful failures.
Oh, my God. More failures than successes, yes.
Is there one that you would love to see on its feet that you did over the years?
Well, we talked about before, sometimes we would do this crazy thing where...
Oh, you know what would be an amazing one?
Oh, what's happening? I don't like.
Unicorn Mountain.
Oh, Unicorn Mountain is, I was about to bring it up.
Oh, okay, sorry. Go ahead.
What are you doing?
I just got excited. I didn't know that was yeah, okay, go ahead.
Stop.
You know how men, they just like jump in.
I know, exactly. I got mansplained. Does he need to be here? You need to be here.
Classic. I don't think I need
we wrote a sketch called Unicorn Mountain, but the way we wrote it, because we did this a few times, by the way, it never worked. I would write a half and then hand it to Will, and then he would write the second half, and then we would just reveal what we did at the read-through.
So you did not know till you read it at the table. Okay.
So Will wrote a incredibly long...
Five-page song.
5-page introduction, kids show introduction to something called Unicorn Mountain. And it was the unicorns are free and they're friendly and they love everyone. And then my half, we open on Unicorn Mountain and Tracy Morgan and Will are eating a unicorn. Talking about how easy it was to catch them.
And their faces were so sweet. They had no idea.
Do you hear this laughter, Lorne Michaels?
I know, Lorne.
What?
Why did you cut this? Think about that.
I'm on board for Unicorn Mountain.
Okay, you got to find that. You got to find that 5-minute song.
Yeah. We'll dig it up out of the archives. You also had one of my favorite bits in my time at SNL, which is your office was next to Maya Spivey
Yes.
Amy.
Yes.
Can you explain for everybody Thurman and the role Thurman plays?
Yes. Let's see. Will I get canceled for this? No.
You're safe.
No. So Maya and Amy and Emily Spivey. Maya and Emily Spivey were over there all the time. We have these giant big windows here in 30 Rock, and I made this little character 17 floors up who would knock on their window, and he was perverted. He was a creep.
It was a very crudely drawn face on cardboard attached to a long pole.
Yeah.
So you'd go outside your window.
Yeah, and I would do this, and then I would bang on the window, and I would say, and then there's a thought bubble coming out of his head, like, God, I want to get in there and check those boobies out. I wouldn't do that now. But then they would all yell and scream, and then they'd come running into my office, and I had to pull the thing back and get on my computer.
And I remember you would do it in the middle of the winter, and they would come in, and your office would be freezing.
Oh, yeah. Like, just having the window open.
It's really, I mean, this movie is so many things, and it made me cry so many different ways.
Oh, good.
One, it's a really beautiful film about friendship. It's about friends who met at SNL. That meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
It's a story that I feel like isn't told, and it's beautifully told. And I was thinking about something when I was watching you guys in a car, which is, you know, I started SNL right before 9/11.
Yeah.
And I remember the show got delayed a little bit, and Steve Higgins, our friend Steve Higgins, had a barbecue out in New Jersey for everybody.
Yep.
And it was, you know, I hadn't done a show, just met you guys.
Yeah.
And you offered me a ride back to the city.
Yeah.
And I got to sit in the back with you guys.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, you were a hero of mine. You were somebody who I'd heard so much about. And I was driving, and then you couldn't go below 14th Street, which is where I lived, without a piece of mail. And the cops weren't going to let me through. And then you kind of did the thing.
Moneymaker.
Yeah.
But you kind of did the thing you do in this movie, which is...
Yeah.
And they let me through. And I just remember, I was watching this and watching the two in this car tell this beautiful story. And I felt so lucky to have just been in one with you.
Oh.
And, you know, you get to work at SNL, and you know, when you start, you think, oh, I can't believe I get to work with people this funny. But then you see a movie like this, and you think, I can't believe I got to work with people like this. So it's really, I really hope everybody sees it.
So
it is.
We were going to drop you off at the turnpike.
Did he ruin a moment? There was a moment there.
Drop you off at the turnpike.
So many times. Why can't we just...
I talked Harper out of it. It was her idea.
Oh, my God. You ruined another moment. Very sweet. By the way, thank you.
Thanks.
It's too late.
Buddy.
Too late. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to come to the screen tomorrow. Hey, you guys. This is Will Ferrell. This is Harper Steele.
Thank you.
Will and Harper. Theaters now. Premieres September 20th on Netflix. We'll be right back.